This tutorial gives an overview on connecting the inventory software to a scale. We'll cover the scale hardware and cabling, configuring the software, showing a test sequence, and finally, giving some troubleshooting tips. To begin with, let's talk about the hardware. There's the scale itself, sometimes referred to as the load cell or the floor plate, and then there's the indicator, also called the head unit or digital readout. Now for smaller units, the scale and indicator are integrated into a single device, like shown here with this small desktop scale or this small floor scale. These typically can weigh a single bag or a box of items. Larger units have the indicator wired separately, with the load cell plate being 4 foot by 4 foot, or 5 by 5, 5 by 7, or even larger. Here's a 4 by 4 at a local food pantry, and a larger unit at a regional food bank, large enough to drive a forklift onto it. These were placed in the floor, so it's easy to roll carts on and off. But if you cannot do this at your location, you can always get a ramp and just set it on the floor. Your easiest option is to get an indicator that's already being used with the software. Please consult the website's Frequently Asked Questions section for the latest list of the tested models. If you already have a scale that's not on the list, check its user manual to make sure it can communicate with a PC. Look for words like RS-232 interface, or serial port communications, or ASCII commands. You'll need a cable to connect to the PC. If your device has a 9-pin serial port, you'll have to get a DB9 to USB cable. Pay attention to if you'll need a cable with pins or holes. If your device doesn't have an external port, check the manual for where the RS-232 connections are located. You'll most likely have to remove the cover and use a pigtail or bare wire to USB cable. You only have to attach 3 wires: transmit or TX, receive or RX, and ground. With the cable connected, launch the inventory software and log in as administrator. Then, click the Configuration Settings button and make sure the settings shown in the manual match those used by the software. To test it out, place something weighing about 1 or 2 pounds on the scale and press the Read Scale button. It should show the gross weight value. With the item still on the scale, press the Set Scale to 0 button, and the scale's indicator should reset to 0. Next, remove the item from the scale and press Read Scale again. The weight should come in as a negative value. Finally, press the Set Scale to 0 one more time to reset the system so it's ready to use. That's all there is to it. Here are a few quick troubleshooting tips in case it doesn't work the first time. If the software shows it cannot access the serial port, go to the Windows Device Manager to see the number assigned. Then change the system setting to match. The software may show there's an issue reading from the scale. This means the serial port is correct, but it is not getting any response back from the scale indicator. If this happens after successful configuration, it may be that the scale is not turned on, or, for some scales, that the reading hasn't stabilized for 1 second. However, if this is the first time you're trying to get the PC to talk to the scale, make sure that the cable is correct and that the protocol settings entered are correct for that brand of scale. If you're using a non-tested scale and the software states a non-numeric response was received, make sure the scale is reporting simple numbers out of the serial port, and that the start and end position parameters match the location of the data being transmitted. To learn more about our inventory software, you can review the manuals on the website or contact us. We'd love to help.